national resistance movement has over the last 30 years committed itself to the economic and social transformation of the country. This is well articulated in the NRM Manifesto 2016-2021, taking Uganda to modernity through job creation and inclusive development.
Education, health and road infrastructural development are some of the selected national priorities at the center of the country's transformation. These have been well articulated, especially under this Kisanja Hakuna Mchezo.
Government of Uganda introduced the decentralization policy in 1997, which resulted in greater participation and control over service delivery and governance by local communities and local governments. In line with Vision 2020, the President issued 23 guidelines to improve service delivery. All sectors are expected to apply the guidelines by, among other things, formulating budget framework papers to meet the Vision 2020 objectives.
Service delivery is very, very important in as far as we are aiming at moving to middle income status come the year 2020. So we want to interact with the people who are in charge of delivering service, come to grips with the challenges they are facing, and together we generate homegrown solutions to some of those challenges. There are common challenges across board, like inadequate funding. There are challenges, staffing levels being very low, and obviously lack of motivation from the members of staff and so on.
In the context of the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, education and health are number 3 and 4, towards ensuring healthy lives and promoting well-being for all, as well as inclusive and equitable quality education and lifelong learning, respectively.
Regarding the education sector, the NRM government is committed to improving the quality of education, and a number of interventions are already in place. The NRM government introduced universal primary and secondary education programs in 1997 and 2007, respectively. Pupil enrollment at primary level has increased from 7.3 million to over 8.5 million. The transition rate from primary to secondary level increased from 50.9% to 70.5% between 2011 and 2015.
Districts sampled in the Greater North show that service delivery in the 3 sectors, that is health, education and roads, is moderate. Most roads are motorable. Patients can now easily access health facilities, and the numbers of those attaining formal education are soaring. In areas where the targets are not yet met, practical solutions need to be crafted to patch the existing gaps that might restrain the population from attaining a middle-class status in the next 3 years. In the education sector, for instance, a number of both public and private schools have mushroomed to accommodate the high number of children attending formal education.
Lira district has 93 government-aided primary schools. Some of the schools that were visited include Wiodiek, Aburadi and Amucha primary schools. At Wiodiek Primary School, a new teacher's house and a PRDP3 has been completed in a bid to address staff accommodation challenges. All these schools got very few first grades as per 2016 PLE results. At Amucha Primary School, the head teacher, Ario Benson, was grateful to government for renovating the 8 classroom block and a PRDP in addition to a staff house.
This is Amucha Primary School, one of the schools which is government-aided primary school. The enrollment we have here is between 1,600 and above, or 1,400. But the problem, the challenge we have in that, normally we recruit very many children first term like this one here, at the beginning of the term. Then if the seasons of the rain comes, they drop out and they reappear all in third term again.
There are a few isolated cases of overcrowding in classes and limited desks, which can be improved with the involvement of all stakeholders.
In Oyam district, Awio and Tegone primary schools in Icheme sub-county have an enrollment of between 800 to 1,000 pupils each. Like other schools in the region, their performance remains poor. Awio Primary School, which recently received a new 3-classroom block and office during the financial year 2015-16, under PRDP did not post any first grade according to the PLE results for 2016, while Tegone managed to get only one. At Tegone Primary School, dropout rates, especially in the middle classes, primary 4 to primary 6, is worrying. The available desks in the school are only for primaries 7, 6, and 1.
Accommodation for the teachers as well as sufficient latrines pose a big challenge here. Almost all schools sampled have no proper libraries. During last year's primary living examinations, schools such as Kamuguru in Langulo sub-county and Noya primary schools in Noya district continued to register poor performance, an act they attributed to low staffing levels, few teachers' houses, and high levels of school dropout. Ulama Simon and Filda Mary Lakarebe are the head teachers of Kamuguru and Noya primary schools, respectively.
Since 2010, we had one first grade, and up to now, we had no first grade. But as per last year, we were 22, and we got 12 second grades, 4 third grade, and then 4 fourth grade, and 2 failed.
With the teachers, they don't have the accommodation at school. That is the problem. They were having the glass art, but unfortunately, when we were almost opening the term, there was a fire. So all the glass art, it is burned. They have nothing. They just reside in one of the classrooms. They decided to turn. So they are sharing, they are sleeping like dormitory.
Another common challenge identified in the region is that pupils do not attend school during market days, and the schools have no means of addressing this challenge alone. The school feeding program has failed to take off because parents are very reluctant to contribute towards school lunch for their children. There is need for strong collaborative efforts between parents and school administrators in order to supplement government contribution. It has been noted over the time that some parents and local council authorities are not playing their part.
Kapchorwa district, located in eastern Uganda, is composed of 11 sub-counties. It has a total of 78 primary schools and 12 secondary schools. This number of schools includes private schools as well. This is CP Secondary School, founded by the Church of Uganda in 1995. It is one of the government-aided schools in Kapchorwa district with a population of 850 students.
We began on the USE program from its inception in 2007. When we started the program, there were many challenges, especially in terms of infrastructure. And then in 2012, when the UPALET program started, we also started on it. The government came up with a program with the funding from the World Bank, which aimed at giving facilities to secondary schools. So under that program, we benefited from 8 classrooms with the furniture. We got a library. We also got this administration block where we are now housed, and then some toilets.
Butaleja district has 10 sub-counties and 2 town councils with a population of 245,873. The current enrollment of pupils in the primary section is 90,839, while at secondary level, including tertiary and other private institutions, stands at 12,305 students.
Service delivery in Butaleja is moderate. As far as education is concerned, first of all, our staffing levels at the district is 100%. Inspection is being done quarterly. Monitoring and supervision is also being done quarterly. And especially in government schools, it is 100%. Though in private schools, it falls to around 57-58%. Inspection is done.
This district has a very high enrollment of about 100,000 pupils. But when you look at the classrooms construction, you'll find that the classroom constructed are not enough. Many children are still squeezing in one class. You find certain schools with about 170, 160 children in one class, which is very bad. So my appeal is the Minister of Education comes to the rescue of Butaleja district in terms of more classrooms, more desks, and more latrines.
Most districts in the region are now in position to provide accessible education for all school-going children. More classroom blocks and accommodation for teachers are being constructed by government to facilitate the education sector, although they are still inadequate in many schools.
Palsa district with 107 government-aided primary schools, 11 government-aided secondary schools, 2 technical schools, and 1 core PTC. In terms of staffing, the district has a total number of 1,471 teachers. That, of course, gives us understaffing because of, say, for last year's enrollment, we had 98,952 pupils. So when you look at it by rationing, you will find that 1,471 is a small number compared to the expected at a ratio of 53:1.
The Parents Teachers Association have been strengthened and are very active in overseeing the sector grow. PTA meetings are held regularly to review performance and governance in the school, as reflected here at Kaucho Primary School in Palisa.
We are here today on our Parents' Day general meeting. We want to discuss about quite a number of points, but mainly the feeding of the children, because it affects our children so much in their learning. The feeding and then the education as well, because we have not been performing very well in our school.
Education is a key factor, and therefore it is our strong commitment to see that this institution performs.
Kumi, like other districts, has a fully constituted education departments in comprising of the inspectorate, management and sports sectors. The department coordinates, monitors and supervises all education institutions to ensure compliance in implementing government programs. Wotunya Henry is the Chief Administrative Officer, Kumi District.
We have built a number of classrooms, teachers' houses, we have desks, we have supplied books. We are also building sanitation facilities. Private proprietors have come in and they have supplemented government in this area. However, sometimes we grapple with those that don't meet the minimum requirements and standards. For example, this year we have had to close a number of private schools because they don't meet the basic minimum requirements. And of course, there are very many complaints because of the demand. We've given some who lack a few things time to improve so that we reduce the distance to schools.
I would like to thank the government of Uganda for giving us support, more especially in the construction projects of the schools, and also procurement of desks textbooks, and more so for giving us funds that we use more especially for inspections of schools. Among the challenges include inadequate teachers' accommodation. You realize most of the teachers run long distances, riding bicycles to their schools of work. And then the other one is we are still having inadequate textbooks. One textbook is read by 9 children, which makes it very difficult for us to uplift education in the district. We still have inadequate furniture in schools. And again, we have another syndrome whereby there is encroachment of institutional land by the neighbors. What have we done as a department? We have tried as much as possible to sensitize parents to give support, especially in the provision of meals and scholastic materials for the children. And then as far as late coming and is concerned and early departure, equally we have combined the efforts with the parents, we have combined efforts with the head teachers and teachers to regulate these children by formulation of school rules and regulations. As far as absenteeism is concerned, the department plus the head teachers have created forms whereby they should be filled by the teachers and delivered to the department at every end of month so that we make analysis. Any teacher that is found to be absent for more than 10 days will be paid less by the number of days that he or she has been absent.
Improved central government funding to the local government has enabled districts to initiate remarkable development efforts to improve service delivery.
In the 3 areas of education, health, and the works, government has provided resources. In education, the challenge is that the performance, for example, in primary review examination, is still poor.
In order to make the learning environment better, Sironko District has introduced a number of interventions. For instance, a phased construction of classroom blocks, teachers' houses, pit latrines, offices, and stores has been undertaken.
So, for the education department, as far as staffing is concerned, we are still having a gap. We need the positions of senior education officers, senior inspector of schools, and even the education officers and inspectors of schools. So we still have that gap. Most of the teachers are in acting capacity. They are caretaking. I think we're about 20%, only about 20% have been in substantive positions.
Despite the visible infrastructural improvements in the education sector, most schools have not reflected this transformation in their past performance. To refocus public service efforts for delivery of quality outputs in the education sector, there is need to address the issues of inadequate local financial responses and over-reliance on conditional central government grants, inability to attract and retain sufficient trained and experienced staff, corruption and wastage of resources, and nepotism.
There is also need to address the issues of absenteeism from work, poor support, supervision and diversion of funds. Performance management needs to be strengthened at all levels, and emphasis should not only be put on sanctions, but also rewards for exemplary service.
Some of these requirements we need, like let's say good staff motivation in terms of salary and so on. This is not something which you can have just overnight. It has to be worked for, it has to be built. We have to improve the economy of the country, and this will take time. But as long as we have the focus and a very practical work plan, this is achievable. So the advice we are giving is that yes, let's persist and make the whole country a better place to live in.
In the health sector, current antenatal care coverage indicators show that 95% of pregnant women visit a skilled health professional at least once. The mother-to-child transmission of HIV and AIDS reduced from 28,000 per year in 2012 to less than 5,000 in 2014, while full immunization has increased to 95%. There are now over 150 hospitals, both government and private, 193 health center 4s, 930 health center 3s, and about 2,800 health center 2s. Accessibility by population to health facilities within 5-kilometer reach now stand at 75%. There has also been a significant reduction in maternal mortality, infant mortality, and under 5 child mortality.
According to Uganda Bureau of Statistics, Key Indicators Report for the 6th Demographic and Health Survey 2016, infant mortality rate has declined from 54 deaths per 1,000 live births in 2011 to 43 deaths per 1,000 live births in 2016.
Uganda has made great strides in maternal health. According to the report, maternal mortality has reduced from 438 deaths per 100,000 live births registered in the 2011 Uganda Demographic Health Survey report to the current 336 deaths per 100,000 live births. There is also marked improvement in pregnant women attending antenatal care visits from 48% in 2011 to 60% in 2016, while the number of births in health facilities increased from 57% in 2011 to 73% in 2016. A visit to Anaha Hospital, Noya District, exhibited remarkable improvement in service delivery, especially following the support from the World Bank, which has enabled the hospital to acquire a new outpatients department block, casualty unit, isolation center, private wing, mortuary, and a theater. In addition, the old outpatients department and 4 wards have been renovated. However, this funding did not cater for the renovation of the administrative block and the staff quarters, which are in need of a facelift. Okwera John Bosco is a clinical officer at the hospital.
At the moment, the service delivery in this hospital has improved. We have ample spaces. The lab site has also improved because we now have 3 points. We have 1 here. I think we are having 2 different points this site in this new building.
One major challenge facing the hospital is low staffing levels. According to Gladys Apio, the human resource officer at the hospital, staffing of the technical staff is at 26%. The hospital has for some time failed to attract special grade doctors and a radiographer.
In terms of our staffing level, the hospital is not doing so well. We are at 51% staffing level, and out of the 51 staffing level, the technical staffs only comprise of 26%. And that means it points to a very big challenge that we have in terms of service delivery. But as a district, we are trying to improve on the staffing level. Currently, we placed out the advert for some critical positions that we feel if filled will help to make services move much better. But the challenge we have with the recruitment that is ongoing is that getting some critical cadre is becoming a challenge. We've run advert twice so far, and all along we've never been able to get a radiographer.
At Alero Health Center 3, only 9 staff out of the 19 staff were running the health center.
The staffing levels in this facility is still very low. Ideally, we are supposed to have about 19 staffs, but on the ground, as I speak right now, we are only 9.
At Otwal Health Center 3 in Lamogi Sub-County, Oloya Santo, a senior clinical officer who is in charge of the facility, was happy that the health center is operating well. The staffing level here is at 99%. The major challenge here is lack of accommodation for all the staff.
With the staffing level, actually, I have 18 staffs.
which is actually, I can say, like 99%. The only challenge that we have is that we have only 9 houses to accommodate those 18. And some of us, we are sharing a house, like myself, but other staffs who have children, actually their parents, they have their couples. So nobody can share a house with them. So whether they only has only one child with a husband, you can't share whether he's having 2 rooms in the house. So it makes it very difficult. Right now, about 6 staffs are not accommodated.
In Amoro district, the Chief Administrative Officer, Kiplangat Martin, says Amoro is unique because it is the only district with the least number of villages. The district, whose land area is 4,851 square kilometers, has 67 villages with a population of 195,000 people.
The 3 sectors of health, education and roads, we are doing relatively well. Private but not for profit, we have altogether 31 health centers which are able to deliver the services to the wananchi. We don't have a district hospital yet, but our highest level is Health Center 4, which is situated in Atiak. And Atiak is about 78 kilometers from here. So you cannot refer now somebody from here to Atiak. Our nearest referral is now Lacho Hospital, which is in Gulu. Our staffing level in health is about 95%, which is also relatively okay. But we have shortage of enrolled midwives. We have a shortage of 7. And then enrolled nurses, we have a shortage of 4.
It was observed that most districts have in the recent past received new health facilities and others renovated. Most of these are fully operational and others suffer staffing and funding problems. At Otwe Health Center 3, which serves about 800 to 1,000 patients a month, the biggest challenge is low staffing levels and failure to access primary health care funds for the last 3 years, which has left the health facility in a vulnerable state. Due to lack of a laboratory technologist, the nursing aide and askari alternate to do the tests. Okello Wilfred, a senior clinical officer, is the in charge of this health facility.
The PSC money was given directly to DHO, and it is the DHO distributing to the health centers. Health Center 3, Health Center 2, Health Center 4. But now again the ministry changed their system, sending the money direct to the health center. And that's when Otwe Health Center 3 started failing to get PSC money up to today.
In the nearby Omoro district, health center 2s, such as Rujorongole and Koroabili, are still very critical in the provision of healthcare services to the communities. Koroabili Health Center 2 covers a population of 5,760. According to architect Barbara, the in charge, the common cases are malaria, diarrhea, and respiratory tract infections.
We educate the patients and the mothers. We do HIV counseling and testing, treatment of clients or patients, like when they come with other conditions, we do treat them.
In Lira district, Lao sub-region, the district leadership was optimistic that the planned activities in line with improving service delivery, especially for the current financial year, will be accomplished. According to the Chief Administrative Officer, Ngobi Fred Agri, major challenges are in the area of staffing in both the education and health sectors.
When we talk about health services, our biggest challenge is the issue of staffing. Indeed, you may find that maybe
when you analyze the staffing levels, you may say that, okay, we are 70% staff, but the 70% is not the critical staff, technical staff. You will find that most of them are the support staff.
Amach Health Center 4 is a classic example of a health facility which is overstretched. It serves over 37,000 people and the neighboring districts of Dokolo, Aleptong and Kole. According to Odur James, a health educator and caretaker head, the low levels of staffing, lack of electricity and absence of TB units are greatly affecting service delivery.
Right now, most of the people you see around there, they've been referred from other districts like Apach, Kole, Dokolo, Aleptong or 2K. They're all here who have come for hepatitis B confirmation. Apart from that, we also have other activities that we do here. We have hepatitis B screening. Those are the first timers who are coming to test for their hepatitis B status. They're also coming here.
Much as government plan is to phase out health center 2s, Loro and Kamdini Health Center 2s in Oyam district are delivering the much needed services to the people. Loro Health Center covers a population of about 18,000, including those from the neighboring Apache district.
In most cases, the drugs are out of stock, like the drugs for malaria always, and even as I speak now, they are out of stock.
The major challenge here is the small OPD, which requires expansion, in addition to lack of sufficient staff accommodation, as well as bathing shelter and kitchen for the maternity unit. Kamdin Health Center, on the other hand, has no code, and they rely on a redistribution of drugs from the district to serve over 26,000 people.
Budadiri Health Center 4 is one of the 2 health sub-districts in Sironko district. It was started in 1935 by the missionaries as a dispensary offering only first aid and maternal child health services until 1953. In 1996, Budadiri Dispensary was among the first dispensaries to be elevated to Health Center 4 in Uganda.
The catchment population of Budadiri Health Center 4 is around 47,515 patients. That is just within the catchment area. However, this is a referral center for the whole county. It used to be the whole district because the other health center 4 was not offering emergency obstetrics. It was just until recently.
Currently, the health unit is overwhelmed by patients because it is a referral center for all the entire health units in the district and some neighboring districts like Bulambuli, Bukedea and Kapchoro.
Our catchment population slightly exceeds the expected because of the neighboring sub-counties that do not have health facilities. So we have an overwhelming number of patients and clients as a whole. 2, we run drug stockouts, medicine stockouts, because of the big numbers I explained. And that poses a challenge. The drugs that we are given can run out within 1 month or less, depending on the quantity supplied.
Kumi district has 31 functional health facilities, some owned by government, others by NGOs and private proprietors. Health staffing level in Kumi district has improved from 56% to 65% following the recruitment in 2016. The district has a projected population of 254,333 persons, and more than half of the population in the district is below 18 years of age.
In terms of staffing levels, we are at 61%, which also causes problems when it comes to service delivery. So the coverage itself is like where we get most people, like at the health center 2, we are just only at 25% staffing levels. And also that one causes problems because that is where majority of the people go. Then health center 2, we are 83%, health center 3, and then 70% at health center 4.
Age. Kumi district was subdivided into 3 districts of Bukedea, Ngora and Kumi. Atutur is the district's referral hospital.
The entire infrastructure within the hospital has been refurbished
save a few areas in the stores that are actually being finalized. And this has been very, very good to us in that it has attracted a number of clients, a number of patients to come to seek medical care here in the hospital. The other issue now which has come up with this renovation is that, like as I mentioned, a number of patients are now coming up because the hospital is attractive. But there is a limitation on equipment. We are still using the old equipment that we had before. So I want to call upon the government to consider the aspect of giving us resources to procure medical equipment, especially, and instruments that are to match the new structures that we have already acquired.
In Kapchorwa, the district has 1 hospital, 1 health center 4, 7 health center 3s, and 14 health center 2s. This makes a total of 23 health facilities available in the district. Last year, the district had a development budget of 324 million shillings and was allocated to partial construction of 1 maternity ward and renovation of the main hospital.
Our people are receiving a good service, though still we can't say we don't have challenges. And health is one area where we have projects which are incomplete. We have come up with the 2 maternity wards. I can give an example of Chebonet Health Center 3 and Tumbabo Health Center 3, where we started 2 projects in financial year 2015-2016. But they are incomplete up to now because the money was little and we are doing them in phases. But this financial year we hope to complete, this is 16-17, we hope to complete Chebonet. And then next financial year funds available, we shall complete Tumbabo Health Center 3 maternity ward.
The Ministry of Health is also constructing a 2-storied nurses block expected to be completed in June 2017. However, health service provision in the district remain a challenge, especially in the hard-to-reach areas.
The challenges we still have here is also, there is still a challenge of staffing. Sometimes it's difficult to retain health workers in hard-to-reach areas. Yet our district is not benefiting from the hard-to-reach allowances. So that is the challenge we have. We may recruit, but they don't stay for long, they go away.
Butaleja district also has 1 hospital. Other health facilities include 1 health center 4, 11 health center 3s, 10 health center 2s. All the sub-counties in the district have village health teams in place. The support from the health service implementing partners such as World Vision and the political support has enabled the district to make progress. The district human resources for health staffing levels are at 53%, with a shortage of midwives, anesthetic officers and doctors.
Palisa district was established in 1991 and has 19 sub-counties, including the town council. Palisa Hospital was opened in 1969 with 100-bed capacity. Today, the population has increased and this has strained the available facilities and resources. Since the year 2010, a number of health infrastructure developments have been realized, such as the construction of a medical store, patients' ward, provision of solar power, and fencing off some of the health facilities.
When you look at the general health infrastructure in our health facilities, I think we are not doing very well. Palisa has got 19 sub-counties, including the town council, and out of the 19 sub-counties, we have 4 sub-counties where we don't have any health center. And the district, through the district council, 2010 approved the construction of health center 3s in the sub-counties that do not have any health center 3 in order to improve access to health services for these communities. And the constructions were completed. However, up to now, these health facilities have not been functionalized.
Key staff in the health facilities should be accommodated to ensure the patients are attended to at any one time, especially expectant mother who may be due for delivery.
Regarding roads, government has strategically identified and prioritized infrastructure as a critical catalyst to stimulate sustainable economic growth. Therefore, the role played by high-quality infrastructure cannot be overemphasized. The overall national road network increased from 10,005 kilometers in 2011 to 21,000 kilometers in 2014. 70% and 80% of the paved and unpaved roads respectively are in good condition. This year, Kapchorwa district budgeted for over 310 million shillings to work on 158 kilometers routine maintenance, 30 kilometers routine mechanized, and 6.5 kilometers periodic maintenance.
We are only depending on Uganda Road Fund. The moment, because PRDP pulled out and they were not able to finance us. So this financial running financial year now, we never got anything from what? PRDP. We are only now depending only on the Uganda Road Fund. But now, when you see the challenges from Uganda Road Fund, the IPF which they send, like they gave us 310 million, but at the end of the financial year, you realize that you are not realizing the whole money, yet you have already budgeted to work on the roads. So at the same, you end up just what? Working on few roads.
Districts in the region have learned on how to improve incomes of the local population by applying home-generated solutions in the maintenance of roads.
As right now, the road is good. It's not even like the other time.
We are only concentrating mainly on routine manual, which we are now on, and people are working, and we pay them 100,000 per person. That is the road gangs. Then the headmen, we pay them 150,000.
This also applies to Soronko district, which has a total of 226 kilometers road network under routine maintenance.
Kumi district has a 158.4 kilometers of national roads, 361.2 kilometers of district roads, and 328.6 kilometers of community access roads.
Out of 360 kilometers of district roads, 70% is in good condition, 10% is in fair condition, and 20% is in bad condition.
Palisa district has a total of 1,760 kilometers of road network. Out of that, 450 kilometers of this network are district roads.
From the district roads, the 450 kilometers, we are managing to maintain only 350 kilometers currently. And in our operations of work, 52% is in a good condition, and then 22% are fair, then 26 are actually in a bad condition.
In Butaleja, a number of roads have been worked on.
The status of roads in this district is not very bad. Because if you compare this district like those of Bukwa, those of Kwen, you'll find that our roads, all of them where I have passed, they are motorable. There are no cases of vehicles getting stuck on the way, and there are no cases of accidents due to overspeeding and whatever. So the roads are in a moderate situation.
By the time of this visitation to Lira district, we witnessed the opening up of this 3.2-kilometer Aruoro-Onyekede road under the Rural Transport Infrastructure Project to enable people access the nearby school, market, and Dokolo district. Like other neighboring districts, Gulu district has made commendable progress towards service delivery. The municipality has upgraded its roads, and a lot of infrastructure development is ongoing. Gulu district leadership has had challenges of wrangles between the political and technical wings. At the time of this visitation, the chief administrative officer had been forced out of the office by the district council on allegations of failure to work as a team to improve service delivery in the district. In Amuru district, road works were in progress at the 6.5-kilometer Chorom Road. This road, when complete, will connect to Alero sub-county in Nuer district. Godfrey Awor is the district road inspector.
The road is going to link us from Lacharo to Chorom at the moment, but our initial plan is to link the road from Lacharo to Alero sub-county. That is in Nuer district.
Nuer district in northern Uganda was created in 2010. The district has received various accolades for their efforts in improving service delivery. The district can now be easily accessed through the Pakwach-Oluyo-Gulu Road, whose upgrade to bitumen by the central government is progressing well. According to the Nuer district chairperson, Patrick Okello-Riem, and the chief administrative officer, Bwayo Gabriel, a lot has been achieved in terms of service delivery.
The creation of this district is more of a blessing because it has helped us to move closer to our people, and it has helped our people to also get closer to the leadership. We opened so many community access roads to help our people get access to the market and help the business people who come from other parts of the country and from within our district to get access to the locals and buy things from their villages.
The current funding which is coming in is inadequate, and we have challenges of recruiting the local manpower to do the routine maintenance. And in many of the cases we have preferred the mechanized approach, which is enabling us to open and maintain roads in the district. We're also trying as much as possible to ensure there's a high level of transparency and accountability so that we can be in touch with our communities and the communities see what services are being provided.
The government of Uganda has now established a delivery unit in the Prime Minister's office to drive delivery of services to the people of Uganda. The overall purpose of the delivery unit is to facilitate faster implementation of selected national priorities and enable delivery of big and fast results.
We have 5 thematic areas, the key 5 areas we are focusing on. So we have a thematic leader for education, a thematic leader for health, a thematic leader for infrastructure, one for jobs and incomes, and finally one for data.
The goal of government through the delivery unit is to achieve optimal visibility of results and ultimately nurture a performance culture with emphasis on speed and rigor within the public sector.
The reason why we came to address the 20 districts represented here was mainly on the basis of poor performance in education. So we have 20 worst performing districts in education. But we thought since that is the priority area and we are here anyway, we could economize by using the meeting to address the health sector as well, because it's also the priority sector, core priority sector. There are only 6 or 7 core priority sectors out of the 23 guidelines, and these are security, infrastructure, hospitalization, agriculture, employment, health and education.
The NRM government, as highlighted in the Vision 2040 and in the medium term through the National Development Plan 2 goals, is committed to transforming Uganda into a middle-income country by 2020.